Welcome to Judah Roar's channel. Today, we're tackling a sensitive topic, divorce and remarriage. You've probably heard sermons on the subject, but today, we'll examine principles that the Bible states and we generally don't talk about. In a world where relationships are fragile and divorce rates soar, it's so crucial to seek God's guidance in our decision-making. We may have come across the scary statistics on marriage and divorce rates in modern societies. Many of us are now worried about making the right decision and choosing the right partner. Fortunately for us, institutions and churches have established programs to train and guide us into making those choices. Yet divorce rates keep climbing higher by the day. So, we all search for the elusive key that unlocks the doors to a happy ever-after marriage and plunge in nonetheless. But what can we do when it doesn't work out? If we find ourselves divorced, are we consequently condemned to a life of loneliness, even though it wasn't our fault? Is life now over for us? The Bible offers hope, healing, and clarity to guide us should we find ourselves in this difficult path. But the Bible also offers stark warnings that we will do well to heed before frivolously heading to the divorce courts. You need to understand that you are not simply canceling a contract, you are about to break a sacred covenant. The consequences of that decision will affect us in time and in eternity. This rest of this video will now focus on the circumstances those divorced find themselves in and the concept of remarriage. Did you know that the Bible differentiates between remarriage for someone who divorces and someone who is divorced? Let's dive in. First, we'll examine the divorcer or the initiator. The Bible gives a sobering warning. Matthew 5:32 and Luke 16:18 indicates that the divorcer commits adultery if they remarry, implying spiritual responsibility for the act. Mark 10:11-12 also emphasizes the divorcer's guilt. Many of us, especially women, who initiate 70–80% of all divorces, need to pay closer attention to this. The Bible doesn't make allowances for falling out of love, outgrowing your marriage, or most of the other excuses we make. To the men, the fact that she's no longer your fairy tale Snow White, or now smells more like onions rather than roses, is not an excuse to kick her out. Have we considered the consequences of our actions? Is it worth it? Now, let's consider the divorced or the recipient. The Bible offers hope and restoration. Deuteronomy 24:1-4 and Matthew 19:8-9 indicates that if the divorce is due to adultery or uncleanness, the innocent party can remarry without guilt. And for those divorced by an unbelieving partner, 1 Corinthians 7:15 offers freedom.
If the unbelieving partner departs, the brother or sister is not under bondage in such cases. 1 Corinthians 7:15.
Note, however, that this applies to those who were married before coming into the truth. A believer should not knowingly marry a worldly non-believer under any circumstances. Unless, of course, you think you have the spirit of Prophet Hosea, in which case, I bid you good luck. Key passages to consider: Matthew 19:3-12, Mark 10:2-12, Luke 16:18, 1 Corinthians 7:10-15, Deuteronomy 24:1-4. Now that we've explored the Bible's teachings on divorce and remarriage, let's summarize the key principles to remember. First, initiation versus reception. The Bible clearly distinguishes between initiating divorce and receiving it. This distinction matters. Second, guilt and innocence. Spiritual responsibility falls primarily on the divorcer, not the divorced. Understanding this frees us from unnecessary guilt and shame. You cannot stop someone from leaving you. Third, remarriage. Permission for remarriage depends on circumstances. we must seek God's guidance on this. Church interpretations of remarriage vary. The Catholic Church prohibits remarriage for both parties, while the Eastern Orthodox Church allows remarriage under certain conditions. Protestant churches have differing views, emphasizing the importance of seeking guidance from spiritual leaders and biblical experts. Biblical teachings on divorce and remarriage by the various denominations are complex. Don't navigate this journey alone. Though churches have differing views on remarriage, one thing is clear: God's Word is our ultimate guide. If you're struggling with divorce or remarriage, remember, God heals the brokenhearted. Psalm 147:3. God restores relationships. Matthew chapter 19:26. God offers forgiveness. 1 John chapter 1:9. Seek guidance from spiritual leaders, biblical experts, and God's Word. You are not alone. Thanks for watching. May God guide you in understanding His Word and experiencing His love. Please subscribe for more biblical teachings.